All right, so welcome in if you just joined. If you're watching live, it's Friday, November 14th, and I am going to get you started when you're stuck at step one. Let me know in the comments if that ever happens to you. Is it hard to pick a layout, to pick colors? Do you want to go with cute? Do you want to go with elegant or whimsical? If that's the case, I have all of those options for you today. So I'm going to take these away and we are going to jump right into card number one. And this one happens to be the clean and elegant. This features the the elegant ornaments in the jar of joy. And I have paired it with an elegant paper, the modern Christmas paper. And all right, so I see Debbie's joining me and she loves these stuff. I do too. I love a punch bundle. And these two stamp sets together, and I am going to be sharing pieces from both of the stamp sets. And of course, I'm going to be using that great punch. I've got some dimensions there for you. I'm going to get started with my card base. We're going to have an elevated panel. We're going to have just a small strip of the DSP and a little cardstock slice, some ribbon, and a beautiful sentiment. And this, my friends, is the easiest card. I think it's the most elegant, and it's got a great template. Just the side strip of DSP, a coordinating cardstock piece, and by the way, you can always rotate a template. That's what I love about it. So this would work in any orientation. So down the side, at the top, even at the bottom, it will work in all of those directions. So let's get started on this pretty card. I'm going to put the card base aside for now. We're going to do some stamping. And the first thing I'm going to do is measure on the stamp cardstock. And let's see, I have a pencil here because that's going to share with me where I start stamping my ornaments. So I'm going to go up about 2 1/4 inches from the card front base. So 2 1/4. And I'm just going to draw a line across to help me kind of stay aligned. Very faint. Put that aside. And let's get started. I've got my stamp and it's mounted on block B. I need a piece of chipboard because this is a photopolymer stamp set. You know, the photopolymer are kind of finicky. They want that extra cush. And then I'm going to be using Memento Black. And I'm going to ink up my ornaments. And I am just going to stamp away. I'm going to align the top of the little hanging portion of the ornaments, and I'm going to place it right on that guide we just marked. And I'm going to go all the way across, just being careful not to overlap the ornaments. And it's kind of hard when I'm right over top, but I'm going to hold my breath and cross my fingers. I think I did get a little bit of splatter there, but no worries. Let's see. And I am going against my favorite method of inking up just because this is so repetitive. It's a smaller image, and this is also something that you can do when you do have stamps that are smaller images, is repeat them to create your focal point. There we go. So there you go. There's my ornaments across the focal point. And then I'm going to use the sentiment. This one also comes from the Jar of Joy. Right in here, it's a very linear sentiment. It says, "May your heart be filled with joy." So such a sweet sentiment. Very clean and simple. I'm going to ink up again in Memento Black, and this is going to go, make sure it's upright, no goofs here. And it's gonna go about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And I just wanna make sure that it's somewhat straight. Here we go. We are on card number 1. This is the Elegant stamp or card from the Jar of Joy. All right, so I've got my focal point art. I'm gonna next add my DSP, and I have pre-cut everything so that we don't run too long on our mini class. And by the way, I'm gonna mention here, if you tend to get stuck at step 1, I have an assistant here to help. Her name is Sally Stamper. She's my AI assistant. And if you tell her or show her what supplies you're working with, she can make some recommendations for you to get started. So no more getting stuck at step 1, that crafter's block. So I lined that there. And next I'm just gonna add a little transitional strip of black cardstock. It's about 3/8 of an inch wide. And I'm just being very careful. You know, my chant, dot, dot, not a lot. We don't want it to ooze out from the sides. So it looks like my strip is a little bit longer, and I'd rather have it longer than shorter because all we have to do is snip. So I'm going to turn that over right with the focal point piece. Yes, here I am, ready to go with 3 cards from the Jar of Joy and Sweet Jar bundle. These are the easiest templates to get started, and you can use them over and over. It doesn't matter which stamps that you have, which paper you have, what accessories. They just are so helpful to get started. So I'm going to take some of this beautiful twine, and I should tell you what it is, right? Black and white and gold baker's twine. If you haven't got your hands on this yet, you will want to, because it is by far my favorite of all the twines. Very luxurious, very cool the way they have wrapped the gold around the black twine. Very elegant. All right, now I can see I'm probably going to need help from my friend, the mini glue dot. So I'm going to bring that in. And sorry for crossing over. I'm going to take 1 mini glue dot. This is your third hand because sometimes the ribbon and twine just won't stay. Okay, so I should have done this a little bit differently. Let's get started. Let's get back on track. Okay, so I've wrapped it twice just to give a little bit more presence, and I'm thinking I want it just a little bit longer on that side. So let me rewrap. Just rewrap, and you can have fun with the placement of your twine. There's no rules. It doesn't have to be neat and aligned. You can spread those layers or keep them tight together. Here's where I'm going to get my help. I'm going to place that glue dot right underneath that area where I'm going to have my knot. And I actually need to bring it underneath. This is where being on camera causes a little bit of stress. If things go wrong, they go wrong when you're filming, right? Okay, so just a little knot. There we go. Cute little bow. Add a little extra elegance. And there is our focal point. This is going to go on a standard card base, which is the 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to go use my bone folder for that nice burnish. My focal point goes right atop, and I'm using dimensionals to kind of add that depth. And I'm going to go, I don't think I'm going to go overboard, but I'm going to be generous with these dimensionals because I want it to pop up evenly. I don't want anything collapsing. So, and then 1 more in the corner. There we go. And how about 1 in the middle, just because. There we go. So you tell me what's your favorite style. Is it going to be the cute? Is it going to be whimsical? Or are you going for the elegant this season? Do you like your cards complicated or clean and simple? I think if you've seen my designs before, I go for more the clean and simple, not too complicated. And we're going to have a border, even border all the way around. And I think it's looking really elegant, but let me tell you, what really makes it pop are these sweet embellishments. They're called flower accents. Pretty gold tone. And I think there's 2 sizes. We're going to put 3 on our card. And I'm going to put them right in the center of that pretty little star. And so one, it just so happens that those stars mostly fall in the center of my card. So I'm not going off too much. I don't have to worry about the placement. They're just going right in the middle of the star. And there you go. That is my first card. So use specialty paper like this gold stripe to elevate your card. The black and white just makes it really elegant. So Debbie says she's going cute this year. I do like them all. I totally agree. It kind of depends on what mood you're in. They all work for me. And when you see the stamp sets available and all the other supplies, you kind of lean toward one of those styles. Okay, so again, I'm going to mention, if you are stuck, go with this template or give Sally Stamper a try. Thank you. I'm glad you like the card. I'm so pleased. All right, so my friends, we're going on to card number 2, which has a focal point of that sweet little jar. All right, so here again, a very easy layout. We are going to need the coordinating punch on this set. And we are, you can note, there is no sentiment on the front because my cute little sentiment is inside. Sending a little cheer your way. So where did that sentiment come from? It came from the companion set right up here. And I love the way Stampin' Up designed this. They give you that break in there so you can put your gift. You could say sending love your way, sending a little luck your way, sending a little party your way. We are going to be sending a little cheer, which I borrowed from the Jar of Joy. So there we go. So I blended the sentiment. I guess you could call it the hybrid. And let's see what we need for this card. I'm going to take out my supplies, share with you. And all right, so we need a card base. In this case, it's going to be shaded spruce. I have an embossed layer. This embossed folder is called, I think it's called So Swirly. But again, these templates work because you could substitute any folder, any paper, any stamp set. We're adding a little peak of snowflakes. These come, or this panel comes from, let me tell you, let's see, I think it's the Pine Snowflakes paper pack. Let's see, I thought I had it written down. I don't see it. Elegant Pine Snowflakes, it's called. And I've got a little peak of real red cardstock that's going to show through. Let's see, I have a large stitched shape circle from the Stylish Shapes dies, and this has been cut in Summer Splash. We're going to be stamping our jar on a scrap. We need a little scrap for the lid, and we need an insert. So let's take it away. I'm going to put my card right up here for reference, and we're going to layer up. I'm going to fold my card base. Again, it's the standard size. What size do you prefer? Do you like the standard size, the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2? I don't know, sometimes it's nice to do something different. And by the way, this class is available for free with a $50 order in my online store through the 24th. You will get the materials to make the 3 cards. You also get other perks like the tutorial that gets mailed for any order. Let's see, you get your 10% rewards from Stampin' Up when your order's over 20. And this month, I'm even giving away a bonus tutorial, the Cake Day card class. Oh, I should have those cards available to share with you. All right, so all I did was layer up that textured layer. I'm going to bring in my pattern paper and map that on my real red. Oh, what else I was going to tell you. If your order is $75 or more, I will give you a bonus project. I love it. Talk about non-standard card sizes. This is going to be a slimline card and it's a shaker card and I love it. I hope you do too. I'm going to share it with you in just a second. Let me get this on here. You can see I'm doing more than dot, dot, not a lot because I do not want this layer to come off. I'm abutting it right to the fold. And I'm going to make sure, I'm going to apply some pressure, make sure that's on there. Nice and secure. And I see I need to snip. So again, I'm going to open that up, fold it over, use my paper snips. Whoops, sorry for being so noisy. And just clean that up. All right. And then next, I can add my stitched square. And this also goes flat. Whoops. There is a right and a wrong side on the die cut. You can see that's much cleaner. It's kind of like when you're stitching, you want that top side up. That makes sense, right? Top side up, yes. Okay, so then this is going to go on kind of whimsical. So we're at an angle right on that transition from your pattern paper to your textured. And then I have the sweetest snowflake. This comes from the Snowy Delights bundle. I love the dies on this set. This year, there are 2 options for snowflakes, and I'm finding, although I purchased only the Snowy Delights, the pine snowflakes are also amazing. So you have choices, and you have 2 different stamp sets, bundles, that you can use for snowflakes this year. And again, this is kind of whimsical. It's not going to be layered straight. I'm going to kind of fall off that square. There's my background. And I'm going to set that aside. We're going to do our stamping and punching. So I'm going to bring in a scrap, basic white, and I do need my chipboard. I'm going to be inking up in Tuxedo Black again. And I need my jar stamp. And it looks like, you know what? You get the jar in both sets. One has, the Sweet Jar has a solid lid. The Jar of Joy has an outline lid. They both will punch perfectly with the coordinating punch. I just want to make sure I get some nice, let's see. I think I was right the first time. I'm going to stamp that jar. And then I'm going to add that cute little snowman. I'm going to set that aside because I need it for the next card. I got that sweet little snowman that's on a little snowdrift. And, all right. There, and I'm going to angle him slightly, getting him in that jar. This, by the way, if I haven't mentioned it, it's a 2-step stamp set. So you see the little snowman. Right now he is not wearing a scarf, and his hat has no band. So let's get those items. Let's see, it'd be easier if I just brought that up. Okay, so let me grab my scarf and hat brim. And so this is one stamp, and I'm going to be stamping in real red. And right here. And again, this one takes a little bit of alignment. And if you can look right over top, I'm gonna hold my breath, cross my fingers, and it's not too bad. Let's put that aside. I am gonna need that red again in a moment. We are going to add a little bit of snow. And this is a little stamp in the Jar of Joy. And I'm just gonna go vertically, bring in some snow here. And I even had it go all the way to the bottom. Alrighty, so there's my little snowman, and I've got a carrot nose, and I'm just using the Stampin' Up marker. It's Timid Tiger. I'm using the bullet tip, just the tiniest little dot, but you need it. Okay, so let's see, I've got my jar ready to go. Whoops, butterfingers today. And I need my lid, and I am going to use the outline lid. I'm going to stamp that right in there. No need to fussy cut, fair warning. You do not need to fussy cut these items. I'm going to bring in the punch. First I will do the lid, and I'm just going to use my punch as a guide, my stamp. There we go, I need that. And let's punch our jar. Same way, slide it in at the top. And I like to kind of clamp down when it's right in the spot in case I need to tweak. Go ahead and punch. All right, we've got that going on. And I am going to add my lid to my jar using a mini glue dot. And I chose, I'll bring in my reference card, sorry for reaching across. I chose, again, this card is the Whimsical card. The lid is kind of askew. So, slightly open, slightly ajar. All right, there we go. And this is going to be popped up with dimensionals. So flip that over. I have my minis right here. I'm going to put a mini on that lid and then just sprinkle them around. This is why I like the minis. You can add lots of extra where you need support. Let's go ahead and add that. And you know, you can use your take your pick tool to remove the backings of these dimensionals. And again, this is my Whimsical, so it's slightly wonky. There we go. And let's add a little bit of embellishment. We're going to add some twine. This is the real red and white baker's twine. And I'm going to make a small bow. So let's see. And I am the bunny ears bow maker. There we go. And I do want a slightly bigger bow. Now I'm ready to cut, but I'm going to use my, I should put those back so they don't get lost. My ribbon scissors to cut my twine, and yes, that makes a difference. I'm going to use a mini glue dot to add the bow. And let's see, here's what I'm saying about things getting lost. Looking for my take your pick. And I'm going to lift that off. This is going to be pushed right under so it kind of peeks out. Just push that under, there we go. There's my little bow popping out from behind the jar. And of course we want some sparkle, right? I'm just using the basic rhinestones, my favorite. And I'm going to put one at the top. And of course I want my 3. And I'm kind of going all over on this sheet. So there's 2 and then the 3rd. And remember, when you are laying your embellishments, it's kind of nice to go in a triangle, but not the equilateral triangle. So kind of off 3 points, but not, you know, not precise. So it's, again, the whimsy. All right, so let's go with the insert. It's on basic white, and I'm going to stamp from the Sweet Jar stamp set. Whoops, hopefully that's not, my tuxedo is a little bit juicy. I like to use my craft tuxedo pad, but not at my fingertips right now. Sending a little blank your way. And you know what, that's kind of, I don't like that. Okay, so let's try maybe a different black pad. This one's too juicy. So let's see, I might need to clean this. These letters are very small. And so if you have any extra ink in there, you're not going to get the definition that you want. So let's try that again. I think this is going to be better. All right, at the top, sending a little blank. Oh, much better. I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my stamp. And this stamp says, sending a jar full of cheer. So all I want is that cheer, but I don't want to muddy my sentiment. So here's what I'm going to do. Bring in my red, bring in some Post-it tape, just in case. I don't see any ink on there right now, but just in case, I'm going to cover up those extra words. And I can see right through. That's the beauty of photopolymer, right? I can see that cheer right through, and hopefully you saw that with me as well. I'm not going to remove that tape. I don't want a ghost, and I'm going to come in right in place. A little bit of pressure. There we go, sending a little cheer your way. Put that back there. I'm going to leave my black out. Hopefully that doesn't get in the way. All right, so we have our insert. Let's go ahead and add that. Flip that. This was my goof side, making sure. And the other thing I'm going to make sure is that I'm right side up and centered. Okay, here we go with my whimsical card. My jar of joy with that cute little snowman. So the magic of this little template comes from the double layering. So we have that square. We could have a second square, or we could have some other die cut element there, but add your pattern paper, a layer to transition, and maybe some texture. Let's see. What would you put in your jar? Would you put cookies or candy? What else could you put in? I'm going to show you, and I think I mentioned that earlier, what I put in one of my other cards. In fact, I think it's a good time to share that. When your order is $75 or more, you get a bonus project, and to this week, my bonus project is a slimline card that happens to be a shaker card. I love it. So there you go. Bump your order up, you will get all the goodies. It's like a triple reward. Let's see. And I am just trying to make sure I'm putting everything aside that I need to. Let me clean up. We are moving on to card number 3. Here's the cute card, I would say. Sending a jar full of cheer. Recognize that sentiment. And I've got different pattern paper. And again, another template. So let's break this one down. We've got a strip of pattern paper down the right, a skinny layer peeking through. That's actually the card base. Again, a layer of texturized paper or cardstock. We have one large focal point, and I happen to put my image on that. A couple of die cuts and some embellishments. So there's my template, very simple. This card happens to start at 5.5 by 7.5. And the card base is crumb cake. I've got my texturized layer in garden green, and this comes from the hybrid Jolly Holly bundle. Love that folder. I have a little snippet that's 1 inch only of that beautiful plaid from the Christmas Tags and More paper pack. I have a little die cut of pine. This comes from another great die set, the branching out die set. And then one of my go-to shapes is the, let's see, Spotlight on Nature dies. This is the largest circle, white. I need a little snippet of silver to punch and a little snippet of white to punch. So let's look at this. So again, this layout is a lifesaver to get started. Let's do some assembly. We're going to bring in our card base. And it's still scored at 4 1/4. The difference is the size of the card base started just 1 inch narrower. Bone folder to get a nice crease. I'm going to add my embossed layer. This is again garden green, Jolly Holly folder, and I'm going to add a little extra there. This goes flush to the score line, and we should get a small peak of that crumb cake coming out to show off our 1 inch strip of DSP. And again, just a little adhesive. My favorite liquid glue, but you have to control it. You apply too much, it's going to get messy and sticky. There we go. So a little 1 inch strip. So sweet. There we go. And let's do some stamping. I'm going to move my card base aside. Let's bring in my chipboard again. There we go. And again, I'm using that stamp, if I can find it. And it looks like I'm going to need to clean it. This is the same stamp that we used on the previous card, but I'm breaking it a little bit different, and I've already lost. Mamma mia. Okay. Let's see. I need to clean the stamp. Right now it's got red on it. I do not want red. Our sentiment on this card is going to be in black. Make sure I stamp off. Okay. And I'm splitting the sentiment into 2 lines instead of one long linear. So I'm sending a jar full of cheer, right? And again, I'm going to bring in my tuxedo black. And the easiest way I find this is to look right through on your photopolymer stamp. Make sure you're just inking up black. In fact, I'm going to move this for just a second. Ink up black. Now I'm going to add that little strip of Post-it tape. I'm going to stamp. The nice thing on a circle is that you're straight however you go, sending a jar. And again, I'm gonna clean my stamp. There's a novel thought. And I'm gonna ink up the second half of the sentiment in black. And just to make sure I don't get any ghosting on there. There. And this one I have to be a little bit more careful on. I want to tuck that H just in between the A and the J. Press. And there we go. There's our split sentiment. So I love that we can alter the sentiment just a little bit. It gives you a little bit more options. And let's see, I'm not going to go too far with that mat. I am, however, going to go ahead and add that. And I'm going to put my little branch down, liquid glue. So sweet from, again, branching out dies. That die set is a must-have. It's got the nested rectangles with the pretty edge corners to it. And let's see, I don't need much glue. I'm going to put this down right around there. No, don't have to be too precise. And let's see, this is going to go flat onto our card front. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little bit of glue along the edge and a little bit of glue here. I'm not going to go to the right because this is going to overlap that area that doesn't have any cardstock behind it. So right like so, and I'm going a little bit low, pressing down, and it looks like I neglected to kick out one little piece there. Actually, 3 little pieces there. There we go, better. All right, let's stamp our focal point. This one's a little bit different. Put that aside. Bring in my scrap. Again, I need my jar and my Memento black. So this layout, again, will work any season, any theme, any paper, when you don't know where to begin. A template is a great start. All right, there, and we need some colored ink now. I'm going to bring in my other stamps. I'm going to bring this over here. There we go. I need my red, and I'm going to need my pecan pie and my 2-step stamps for that jar of gingerbread men. And I will say I stamped first the red, and it is the stamp that has, I guess, the detail elements, more outlines. It's that shadowy effect. And for me, it's just a little bit easier to align when I have these elements. And it's going to go right in the jar. Pressing firmly. This is real red. And next, I'm going to bring in my pecan pie for the gingerbread man. Oops. All right. Let's align this right over top. And I'm trying, again, when you're stamping at home, you don't have that camera in the way, I'm gonna go for it. And press firmly. And you're gonna see the little bow tie filled in, the star center, just so much easier than coloring, I think. Then we're gonna bring in our punch once again. We need a couple of punches here. So let's start with our jar. And then we need also a lid, and this time I'm not stamping, I'm just gonna have a little silver lid. There we go. And let's see, just as we did earlier, I'm going to attach, well, I'm getting very, very messy. I'm gonna attach my lid. This time I think I'm just gonna add a little tiny trail of liquid glue. Bring in the dots. Oops. See, sometimes when you squeeze, you get more than you asked for. Does that happen to you? Oof, annoying, right? It's okay. Let's see. I'm gonna put my lid right down. There is my focal point. I'm gonna close up my glue bottle. Put that aside. All right, let's make sure we add that to our card front. This one, as I say, it goes on with dimensionals, so I have some standard size handy. And I'm gonna try and put one right on the seam of where the lid meets the jar. And one more. Let's get rid of the backing. And this comes right up here. There. And my embellishment of choice for this are the adorable real red and white adhesive back peppermints. So peppermints, right? And we're gonna do the 3 as well. One up here by the chair. Go for a mid-size, right over here on the pine. And then this small, very nearby. And there you go. There is our cute Christmas card from the Jar of Joy bundle. So let's look at what we got. We have 3 cards. We started with the Elegant. We went to the Whimsical. And finally, the Cute. And the good news is, if you like these cards, you can craft along with me. The kit is yours free with a $50 online order through the 24th. You don't need a host code, nothing along that line. Let's see. Your bonus gift is going to be the 4th project, which is the Slimline Shaker card. Love it. And I'm even going to include those cute little snowflake embellishments as your shakers. Plus you get all the other freebies, the rewards, the tutorial with any order. So which card was your favorite? I'm going to ask. Did you like that Elegant, the Whimsical, or the Cute? And if you are stuck, these are great options. These templates are great options, but don't forget, you also have access to my assistant, Sally Stamper. I will put her link at the top of this video. And I want to thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like and follow and sprinkle this video all around the internet for me. Share it so that other crafters are inspired. And before I go, I want to invite you to put a card in the mail and make someone's day. All right, my friends, I will see you next week. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Sandy. I'm so glad you love them all. I had a blast finally playing with this bundle. All right, my friends, see you next week.